boy. We are back. I'm the culture detective here, investigating your favorite countries, cities. You know the drill. So today I'm gonna do my last part of the USA series. I have talked about Alaska, I've talked about Washington, I've talked about Los Angeles, California, and I'm gonna talk about the fourth state that I have been to, and also the last state that I've ever been to. Yet I'm gonna explore more. Anyway, let me fill you in with some background information. In the year 2009, when I was 6 years old during summer, I and my family went to the USA for the first time, and we stayed mainly at Seattle, Washington, because my grandma lives there and my second aunt lives there. And for one of the weeks, we actually went onto a cruise, and we had a trip in Alaska. We went to a few places. It was pretty cool, pretty neat, but mostly we stayed at Seattle. And I was 6 years old back then, so I don't remember much. Actually, I wouldn't have remembered anything from that trip if it weren't for the fact that I wrote down everything that I remembered about the first trip to USA 5 years after 2009. That's 2014. And then 2 years after that, I went to the USA again for the second time in my life. And it's a huge trip. I was 13 years old. It's been a very long time already. And for the first time I've been to USA, I don't know anything about the country. But when I was around 7 or 8 or maybe 9, I started learning a lot about the culture of America, the music over there, the movies, and I was deeply intrigued by USA. In fact, I was so interested and excited to go to USA again. So the trip I had to USA in 2016 is the most anticipated trip of my life until the Europe one last year. But yeah, on the 2016 trip we had 32 days, and for the most part we stayed in Seattle, Washington. We did go to a few other places in Washington. We did go to Vancouver, Canada for 1 day, and we did go to Los Angeles, California for I think 1 week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half days. And then we went to Houston, Texas. We went to LA, California because, you know, it's a famous place. We want to go there. It's cool. It's a cool place. Our cousins have been there, so now we have to go there because, you know, we don't want to feel left out. I'm just kidding. We really wanted to go to LA. But why in the world would we suddenly decide to go to Texas? Because my mom has another friend, and he lives in Texas with his wife and his children. So we went to Texas for 5 days. So this video is going to be relatively short. So that's great news for me, because I don't want to talk that much. I have an album review to film later on. To Pimp a Butterfly. Day 23 of the trip of USA 2016. It was August 1st, and we just left Los Angeles, LAX, and we went to Texas, the William P. Hobby Airport. And first of all, Los Angeles and Seattle are in the same time zone, but in Texas, it's a different time zone. It's like 2 hours later. And that is kind of weird. You know, we're in the same country, but different time zones, I guess. You know, the USA is really a huge country. So anyway, other than the time zone difference, the first thing that happened when I go to the airport in Texas is that we have to walk all the way from wherever we landed to the car park, which is a long way. Like, it's a huge airport for some reason. I don't know, we just walked for such a long time, and we went to the car park. Oh, parking lot, right. Car park is a British word. Ha! I just remembered. Oh, parking lot. Sorry. And in that parking lot, my mom's friend picked us up with his kids, with his wife, and it was already nighttime. So we, I had no idea where we were going. I was just 13 years old. I didn't know where I was going. I don't think I didn't use Google Map when I was 13, so I don't know. Apparently the first thing that my mom's friend took us to, the first place, is a Chinese restaurant. Again, I came to the USA because I wanted to, experience the American culture, not to eat Chinese food, more Chinese food. That's just why. But I didn't complain. Also, there's one thing to note is that in the USA, in Chinese restaurants, they give you fortune cookies, which is just fucking stupid. I hate fortune cookies. Like, people are always like, oh, fortune cookies is so Chinese. Welcome to China. No, it's not. Like, there's no such thing as fortune cookies in China, okay? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, take a bite and a small piece of paper comes out of it? Like, that's fucking stupid. Nobody wants to eat that shit. Anyway, I don't wanna complain for too long, but we went to this Confucius seafood restaurant, and apparently it was closed, so we went to another seafood restaurant that's also Chinese. It's Crown Seafood Restaurant in Texas, Houston. Maybe a little, not in the center of Houston, maybe in the suburbs of Houston. There are 250 plus counties in Texas, which is just fucking nuts. Like, 200 and something in one state, and it's not even the largest state. The largest state is Alaska. Like, how many counties does Alaska have? Like, I don't know, 300? That's insane. Yeah, anyway, so this is Houston, and a little bit southwest of Houston, we get Sugar Land, which is where my mom's friend stayed and where we stayed. Okay, so yeah, as usual, the Chinese restaurant was really large. We were in this huge hall, like a huge hall, and there were round tables and ceramic bowls and spoons and plastic chopsticks. Pretty normal, pretty usual stuff. And then after that, we went to my mom's friend's residence somewhere in Sugarland. I don't know where. And I probably shouldn't show you the footage outside the house, because then I'm kind of disrespecting them, because it's like I'm revealing their privacy. I'm gonna show you some bits inside their house though. So yeah, first of all, I don't live in houses too often in my life. The first time I've lived in a house, it's in Italy, and the second time it's Texas. And in southern Texas, more like not southern Texas, in southern USA, but not really southern USA, more like in suburban places in the USA, people just live in houses, like houses that are like big, like really, really big. Wow, that house was big. It was a huge place, like really huge. There were multiple tables in that house. Well, multiple dining tables, like and the kitchen was like connected to the dining room, and then there's another room where it has a big table, and then there's another room where it just has nothing, and all the rooms are connected. And then we go to the bedroom side of the house, where we have this narrow corridor that has a lot of doors on the sides that, you know, leads to different bedrooms and stuff. And also there are like 2 bathrooms in that house, which is pretty normal. I also have 2 bathrooms in my apartment, but like every bathroom is kind of big, and the bedrooms are also pretty damn big. The bedroom that I stayed in is, I think, 3 times bigger than the bedroom I'm living in right now. So yeah, pretty big, really spacey, lots of couches, a huge living room. Like the living room is the size of both, is the size of twice my dining room plus living room in this apartment. And then we move on to day 24 on August 2nd, where we really didn't have anything to do. I don't know where to go because I was young, and so we stayed at the house for the whole day. And you know, I actually didn't stay at the house for the whole day on that day. In the morning, I and my mom and my mom's friend went to pick up my mom's friend's daughter from like a high school camp. And then that's it. You know, that place, like, I believe that like Sugarland is the suburbs. And that place is like really, really suburban. Like houses, surrounded by grass and some wide roads that are often empty. And Texas is also a really sunny place. Yeah, really sunny, really bright, and not that packed, not that messy. For lunch, we went to Crown Seafood Restaurant again, because why the fuck not? And then for dinner, we had dinner at my mom's friend's house. They invited a lot of other friends, like a lot of other Asian friends, and we all just had dinner. And yeah, that's kind of the day. Still, I can't get over how big the house is. Like, it takes a while to go from my bedroom to the kitchen. Like say, okay, this is the house, okay? This is my bedroom. And I have to go out of my bedroom, walk along the corridor, and then go into the living room, and then pass through the whole living room to the kitchen, no, to the dining room one, and then go up a little bit to reach the kitchen. So it's a long way. And yeah. Okay, now let's go somewhere. It was day 25, August 3rd, and in the morning we went to this supermarket. I am not sure where it is. I'm gonna show you footage of it. If you live in Texas, if you live anywhere near Houston or Sugarland, please tell me in the comments. I need to know where these places are. So first of all, we went to this Asian supermarket, Vietnamese supermarket, and we bought food in there, you know, like usual. It's like a normal cheap supermarket in Hong Kong, except it's like 3 times larger. And then after that, we went to this sports shop where we looked at shoes. We looked at sports wear. My mom's friend's son, who is about the same age of my brother, who is 6 years younger than me, he wanted to buy a bike. So there's that. And then after that, we are on our way to our destination. And on the way, for some reason, I had a really bad stomach ache. Yeah, stomach ache, more like guts ache, belly ache. It just doesn't sound as scientific as stomach ache, but stomach ache is like false because it's not really my stomach which hurted. But yeah, anyway, I didn't feel so good, so we were in a car driving to our destination, and I was feeling really bad, and my mom was like, you know what, why don't you eat something? Maybe it's because there are too much acid in your stomach, so you gotta eat something to fill your stomach so that your the acids in your stomach wouldn't dissolve, wouldn't mess with your stomach walls or something. So we went to Wendy's. Yes, and I am proud to say that this is the first time that I had ever eaten Wendy's, and it's when I was 13 in Texas. And again, if you know where this Wendy's is, please tell me. And what's really amazing about this is that we didn't even plan to eat Wendy's. It's totally accidental. But yeah, I went to Wendy's. It's like any other fast food restaurant out there. It's like McDonald's. It's like Burger King. And I ate the Baconator, and I felt slightly better actually. And also they offer you soda, or in the South they say pop, but I say soda. And they give you a paper cup, and you can actually fill the soda into the cup by yourself, and you can actually choose. There are multiple flavors of Coca-Cola. There are like strawberry flavor, lime flavor, cherry flavor, lemon flavor, orange flavor. It's just crazy. There are so many flavors of Coca-Cola. It's crazy. And it's only a thing in the USA. Like when I went to Europe, when I'm in Hong Kong or in other countries in Asia, like there's no such thing as a strawberry flavored Coca-Cola. Like it's an American thing. Yeah. Anyway, after that we went to have dinner in a restaurant called Spring Creek Barbecue, and boy, welcome to Southern America. This restaurant is feels very Southern American, yeah, so lots of meat, but it was legit a pretty amazing restaurant, I have to say. I'm trying to explain why does it feel so Southern American, but I don't think I can explain why. It's just a vibe that I get. The plate, the way it's split into 3 parts, and we're moving, and the way we put the plate on a plastic tray, and we would move around the restaurants to grab like large portions of food. The fact that we can refill, the fact that there would be waiters walking around with baskets of bread, and we can take like however we want. Like we can eat as many buns as possible. Yeah, just all this just feels so Southern American. And the buns, they are well, my mom's friend claimed that it's the best bun in the world, and I had, I think, 3 of them. It was really soft, buttery, almost similar to the buns in Hong Kong, except not as awkward. Tastes more like food. Yeah, anyway, it was a great meal. It was a great meal. I was satisfied. We had free candies after the meal. And after that, my mom's friend took us to Memorial Park, which is a really special place for me. So we went to this park. It's incredibly spacey, nothing all that messy or flashy. Everything feels so peaceful and calm and serene and tranquil. Damn. Like, it's this path around a lake, like a small lake, a pond, and in the middle of a pond, it's a memorial, and there were no such things as light poles. So it was sunset, and when it gets dark, it gets dark. There were no lights. It was pitch black. I couldn't see at all. And it was fantastic because at that point the biggest light source is the sky. It's the stars. I look up and there are stars. Like, the sky was full of white dots and there were stars. And it was a pretty fantastic thing because nowadays it's kind of rare to actually see stars with your naked eyes on the sky. So it was pretty fantastic. And also, fun fact, I don't know why, but when I was walking on that path in the Memorial Park, it felt so peaceful and so tranquil. My mind was playing Radiohead's Tree Fingers. And I never really liked the track Tree Fingers before, but after this, now I enjoy it. Because of this. Like, something had to trigger me so that I would like a track. And it's this. And it's amazing. Okay, day 26. It's August 4th. And in the morning we went to Baybrook Mall and in Friendswood. So apparently it's kind of far away from Sugarland, but it's really, really close to NASA Johnson Space Center. And before we went into NASA Johnson Space Center, we want to have lunch, so we went to that Baybrook Mall, and we went into the food court, and I had Philly cheesesteak, Charlie's Philly cheesesteak. By the way, the mall is kind of normal. Nothing special about the mall. Feels like a normal mall. Feels like an expensive mall in Hong Kong that's a little westernized. Yeah, So yeah, I have never had Philly cheesesteak in my life. So it's also the first time with cheese fries. So again, really amazing. Yeah, really amazing. Well, there's a thing called a cheese steak sandwich in Subway, and I kind of forgot if I had eaten that before or not before this trip. But yeah, still, Philly cheesesteak. Never had it until this day, and I love it a lot. I love it a lot. Yes, it's delicious. And then after that, we went to NASA Johnson Space Center, which is the most important place in the world when it comes to, I want to say astronomy, but more like astrotechnology. And we went to the place, yeah. So, for the most part, I think it's a pretty interesting place. However, there are parts in the NASA Johnson Space Center that I find kind of boring. So let's break it down. So first off, we went to the main room of the thing where there are a bunch of exhibitions which are all related to Mythbusters. And these exhibitions, they are interesting. There's an exhibition. So one of the games in that room is basically there is a tunnel, right? And water is dripping from the ceiling of the tunnel. And we have to test if walking when it's raining is better or worse than running while it's raining, to see which one gets you more wet. That's pretty interesting. There's another game where you need to dodge a bullet, and we all fail. And then other than that, there are also talks in the NASA Johnson Space Center. Those parts are pretty boring, I have to admit. There's a talk where a guy talks about living life in space station. That part's pretty boring. And then there's another part where it's basically a guy talking about, advancements in technology and our knowledge in space. And that part was also pretty boring. But it's not terrible or anything. I didn't fall asleep or anything. And then after that, we went to the tour around the Space Center itself. And there's a red tour and there's a blue tour. And for the red tour, you get to visit the astronauts training center, plus the Saturn V, the place where Saturn V is stored. And we went to the blue tour, where we get to visit the historic control room and also the Saturn V place. So yeah, similar to the studio tour in Universal Studios Hollywood, we sit in these tour carts, and we go out of the main building. Not really the main building. More like the tourist part of NASA Johnson Space Center, the exhibition part. And we go to the historic control room. We actually climbed a flight of stairs to reach the control room, and we sat down there for 5 minutes or so, and then we just left. And then we went to Saturn V. By the way, Saturn V is the loudest thing ever. It's the loudest thing ever. If you look it up at Wikipedia, it's the loudest thing ever in the world. So, but yeah, we went to the Saturn V place, and it was a huge rocket. It was a humongous rocket. And it's pretty cool to see different parts, bits and pieces of the rocket being dissected. And on the walls of that huge place, there were photos of every Apollo mission, of all the astronauts on all the Apollo missions. So yeah, but yeah, that's basically NASA Johnson Space Center. There's that. And then after that, we went to Kima Boardwalk, which is nearby, and it's the farthest point I've ever traveled from my home. The farthest point, it's not Amsterdam, it's not Oslo, Norway, it's not, Rome, Italy, it's not Alaska, it's Kima Boardwalk, Texas. And it's basically an amusement park. It's a really classic, meat and potatoes amusement park. It has a roller coaster ride made out of wood, which is insane. It has this washing machine thing where, this is nuts. So it's basically a loop, and you sit in on the vehicle, and you just go like this. That's insane. And there's the one where it goes up and down. There's the one where it's a boat and it's swinging from side to side. which is scary. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go in that. There's a Ferris wheel, and it's really fast. And there's also an observation thing. It's yeah. I don't know how to describe stuffs with words, and it's not like I've never seen things like this before. Like, I've seen things like this before for many times, but it's this disc of it's this disc. We walk into the disc, and it just spins upwards, and we get to look at, you know, everything on top. So there you go. That's Kima Boardwalk. And also, fun fact, the farthest point I've ever traveled from my home is the entrance of the loop thing. I never really went in. It's the entrance. But yeah, other than that, it's a pretty cool place. I wouldn't say it's a fantastic theme park or amusement park or anything, but it was okay. It was okay. I had fun. And then after that, it was already super late, and we hadn't had dinner. And we're not just gonna starve to death. And it was already like 10:30 p.m. And my mom's friend took us to Denny's. And I'm proud to say that it's the first time I've ever had Denny's. And Denny's is like a restaurant. It's like a fast food restaurant, except it's not serving fast food. It's serving normal food. I ordered spaghetti with meatballs, and then after that we went back home. So that's day 26. So day 27. In the morning, we went to the University of Houston Sugarland to borrow books and DVDs. We went to the library part, but there were all these borrowed second-hand DVDs and vinyls, and we picked up a few, even though we never watched any of those DVDs because we didn't have any time. And then after that, we really went to Houston. So we went to Houston Museum of Fine Arts, and I'm gonna be honest here, I actually like that museum quite a bit. Also, it was raining a little bit when we went in, but that's besides the point. So we went into the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. My voice is getting raspy now from all the talking. So at first we went to this contemporary art part of the museum, like the thematic part, and I like it a lot. Like, I didn't know much about contemporary art when I was 13. So when I saw all of these weird art, I actually kind of appreciate it. Especially art that's not really that aren't, paintings or sculptures. They are rather some artifacts being put together, and it's I like it. And then there's another section in that museum where filming isn't allowed, so I wasn't allowed to film, and that's the part where it's all just paintings of people in fancy dresses and suits, and they are probably like from the Victorian era, and it's the most boring part. And then after that we went to the African art part of the museum, and it's pretty cool. A lot of artifacts. And then my mom and my mom's friend's son and my brother went somewhere, and me, my dad, my mom's friend, and his wife were together. So we were split up for some reason. I don't know why. And for a while in that museum, I was lost, which is amazing. I love getting lost in a museum. It's always very fun to get lost in a museum. I've gotten lost in Louvre, and it was a great feeling. I just love how every room feels so spacey and empty, and some rooms give off an ominous vibe. So I was filming with my camera, and I was going through all these weird rooms, and it was a lot of fun. And then we went to the part where it's all Southern Asian art and also Islamic art. And again, all these rooms, they are all connected to each other, and it's like a maze in there. It's not a huge museum, but at least we have that. There are rooms dedicated to Korean art, Japanese art, even Chinese art, and Thai, and Indian, and whatever you can name of. Whatever you can think of. And it was, and I was alone for the most part with a camera. So I walked around, made some really cool shots, and I enjoyed my stay at the museum. And then later on, we met up with my mom and the kids again, and then we went underground. Like, apparently there are two buildings in the Houston Museum of Fine Arts. The normal art building and the contemporary art building. So and it's connected with an underground tunnel. So we went to that underground tunnel, and it was amazing. It was mesmerizing. It was transcendent. The tunnel was just so minimalistic, and it was so entrancing because it's pitch black, except we get some really mesmerizing blue lights on the sides, and then we're walking in the middle of the tunnel just slowly to our destination, to the other side, and it is a pretty fantastic feeling. Looks pretty surreal. And then we went to the contemporary arts building. We didn't stay for too long. We just went in there for a while. We checked out some really cool artwork, some photos as well. Photos, like weird photos of people like shaking, unfocused photos. Some really trippy contemporary art as well. But yeah, overall, I like this museum a lot. So yeah. And then after that, we went to downtown aquarium. And it's not much of an aquarium because there's also a white tiger in there. And it's an okay aquarium. It's like a museum, yeah. And it feels more like a museum than a zoo. Because in a zoo, it's just a huge piece of land, and you can just go around and check out whatever animals you want to check out. But in this downtown aquarium, it's this pathway, and along this pathway there are different, fish and sometimes frogs, snakes, reptiles, and we would just follow the path. And there were birds too, I think. So it's not much of an aquarium. And then we went to the white tiger place, and that white tiger looked so tired, looked so depressed. I feel bad for that tiger. He's like, humans are looking at me again. Just another day living in Houston, Texas. Yay. And then after that, we get to touch a stingray. And then after that, we get to touch stingray. I still remember that when I have gone to Singapore, outside of the aquarium, we actually get to touch the fish, and it was amazing. It was interactive, and that's something that I look forward to when I go into a place like an aquarium or a zoo. Something interactive. and we get to touch stingray, which is this soft, slimy fish, and it was great. I touched it a couple times, and it was really soft and cute, and yeah. And then after that, I went to the most American restaurant in the whole wide world. We went to Texas Roadhouse at 13345 Farm to Market, 1960 Road West. And it's the most American thing, or more like the most Southern American thing I've ever been to in my life. It's a restaurant, it's a steakhouse, it's a bar. It's half restaurant, half bar. It was gloomy, it was dimly lit, and everything was big. And outside of the restaurant, there were signs saying that you can't bring guns into the restaurant, and you must be 21 to drink. So, wow, welcome to the USA. And again, this restaurant is in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's in the middle of, like, nowhere. Like, there are all these empty spaces just around the suburbs, and most of them are just grass and sometimes parking lots and chain malls, like large shops. And similarly, Texas Roadhouse is in the middle of nowhere. And so we went to the thing. We had steak, we had baked sweet potatoes with marshmallows, which I thought was really weird, but it tastes kind of good. And at that time, it was the opening ceremony of the Olympics 2016. So we watched it on TV. And I enjoyed it. I enjoy a good, juicy, thick piece of steak. And then it's day 28 where we just stay at the house for the whole day. And then let's move on to day 29. Yeah, on day 28, I really didn't do anything. I guess I watched, like, movies, I think. I slept. I ate food. I was so bored that I made another, like, short film thing for fun. Like, short video thing. But that's it. And then it is day 29 where we had left Houston, Texas. But before leaving, we went to a Chinese buffet restaurant where it's called Chinese buffet, but actually it's not really that Chinese. It's just a normal buffet restaurant, and it was okay. It was not great, not terrible. I had food, and we left. We left Houston, Texas, and went back to Seattle and had IHOP pancakes for the first time. So yeah, overall, let's wrap this up. I don't think I have seen enough of Houston, Texas, or Southern America in general. However, yes, America, and especially the South, it's very spacey, very free, and there are a lot of empty spaces. And everything is in large portions. And even though Houston doesn't have that, vibe similar to the very comfortable and cozy Seattle, or the very flashy, sharp, and exciting Los Angeles, I still enjoy the place quite a bit. And overall, it's not a bad place. It's not a great place either. But still, I look forward to go to USA again. So yeah, next year, summer, I am probably going to go to the USA again. Probably going to go to Seattle and LA for sure, because I'm moving over there. And my next country will definitely be Mexico. Also, I forgot to mention that when we ordered Philly cheesesteak in that mall, my mom's friend spoke in Spanish. So if I want to go to LA or anywhere south of the USA, I gotta start learning some Spanish too. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Houston, Texas? Comment below. Tell me what these places are, and like if you like it, hate if you hate it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching. I'm tired.